So the first Laterally small group session just concluded. I'm really proud of two things. First of all, the amount of progress the small group made. I'll do a high-level recap. And the second thing is I'm proud of the consent form. So I'll be walking you through the Laterally small group consent form and what it includes and why I made it. So I had a goal to keep the small group single-digit participation, and there are 9 members. So we hit the nail on the head. That 9 includes myself. Of those 9 people, 5 showed up, which is pretty good considering that I messed up the calendar invite for the first 2 weeks. So I expect in week 3, if not next week in week 2, we'll have higher participation. And those 4 who did show up did like a lot of progress, more than I'd expect. So we got through the trial by fire, which is the 3rd step in the Laterally standard checklist, and we got through it with the exception of JavaScript, and we'll be getting to that next week. So that means we installed tools, including VS Code, Git, and Node, and we touched on HTML and CSS, and we deployed to GitHub Pages. So within an hour, people were able to deploy a public website that you can even visit and share it with the other members, and we could look at each other's websites. And that really is the purpose of the trial by fire, is to give people a high level view of like what a web page is and HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and what they do, to give them that high level, quick taste, deploy something, get a tangible website out there, and then we start diving in with like a real project, which is a full stack blog. So let's get into this consent form. So the purpose is to ensure a comfortable learning experience. So Laterally small groups includes team-based projects, and I wanna make sure that I'm authorized to share like contact information between members. I also want to get a feel for whether certain students are okay with sharing their screen, because if a student runs into a problem during the small group, I usually encourage them to share their screen, but I want them to know that they have the right to decline. So it's like an informed consent thing, so they don't feel pressure during the class. And then I also want to help students build their public portfolio, including promotion, but I want to have consent for that. So part of the informed consent is a media release or a decline for publishing audio and visual segments of small groups. So I start by asking if the member is comfortable sharing their name and GitHub URL with the small group. This one would actually rule you out of the small group if you're not comfortable sharing that much. That's kind of the minimum to be in the small group. Then I want to get a feel for if they're okay with sharing the screen and make sure that they know they always have the right to decline. And then in terms of contact details for small group projects, which ones? It could be email, Discord, or LinkedIn. If it's none of the above, then I'm currently planning that you won't participate in the team projects, which is okay. We have a member or 2 who wants to join the small group, but they might not be doing team projects. That's okay. So the first audio-visual recording consent is internal and informational. So every session is going to be recorded so that students can always refer back to previous lessons or if they missed one. And then for my own reference, so that I can continue to build the educational curriculum, like what worked well and such. And the second is for public release. And this does not rule you out. You can say like, hey, I don't want my face on YouTube. That's totally fine. But if you do want it, this is an opportunity for members of the small group to get some promotion. So this promotion is intended to help people land jobs basically and build their online presence, their online brand, and get eyes on their portfolio. So that's optional. And so this last part will let you put a URL to like your GitHub if you want it to be promoted. And then I'll give them a shout out in a YouTube video. I say like it's not guaranteed basically. So I acknowledge that this request for promotion is not a guarantee of promotion, but the intent here is like, hey, if students did cool things, I want to brag about them and help get eyes on their portfolio. Here at the end, there's also this general like contact me if you have any questions at all. So I'm super stoked about this opportunity. I think it's a really unique feature for group members. It's another one of those things that you won't get if you go to your standard boot camp or whatever. Follow along for more progress on how this small group goes. The small group is full right now, but if you're interested in being on a wait list, you can shoot me a DM or drop a comment.